Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, Jo Re Mi Fa Sol La Keto. I'm doing something a little bit different today and wanted to show everybody what I'm cooking for Thanksgiving a little bit ahead of Thanksgiving, just in case you'd like to try some keto Thanksgiving meals this year. This is not necessarily a, follow me along while I make my recipes, because I still have to make them for the week, but I'm at least gonna show what I planned out, and then we can also show, what I'm gonna do throughout the week, so I'm not trying to do everything the day of. This year, I decided to do a keto Thanksgiving after going to Keto Friendsgiving in Memphis and seeing all of the options that we had to keep it keto for Thanksgiving. I thought, why can't I do keto Thanksgiving? I'm gonna make several dishes this year. My family is gonna make the turkey, and I know that they're going to be bringing some non-keto sides, but I am gonna make smaller versions of a lot of these keto sides. So those of us that are keto, which is me, my husband is trying to stay keto, and my mom and dad are keto. My dad kind of off and on, but I wanted to make sure we had enough options. All of the recipes that I'm going to make, I will link in the description below, and you can also see them on my Pinterest board. I do have an entire Keto Thanksgiving Pinterest board, and I'm gonna post all of these recipes there. The first meal that I'm gonna make is a turkey sausage cornbread stuffing. For the cornbread dressing, I'm going to be using Shatera's cornbread mix, and I haven't gotten that in the mail yet, but that's what I'm planning on using. Just in case it doesn't come in on time, I'll probably end up using Nisha's cornbread recipe. I decided to use turkey sausage because my husband does not eat pork, and I wanted to make sure that he could eat this. The main ingredients in the dressing are celery, onions, the cornbread itself, and some turkey sausage. There's definitely some spices and sage and all of that involved as well. The second recipe that I'm going to make is going to be cauliflower mac and cheese. With this recipe, it's mostly cauliflower, different kinds of cheeses. I believe there's some cream cheese and sour cream involved as well. But I am planning on roasting the cauliflower ahead of time. I don't know about you, but I don't like it when it's super mushy. But I like the way that roasted cauliflower tastes, so I want to use roasted cauliflower instead of boiling it or using like a frozen cauliflower in this dish. The next dish that I'm gonna make is a roasted Brussels sprouts and cinnamon butternut squash dish. In this dish, it obviously has the Brussels sprouts and the butternut squash, but it also has some pecans and some dried cranberries. I try to get the cranberries that have the lowest amount of sugar as possible, preferably unsweetened. Unfortunately, I was only able to buy some that are actually sweetened or like 50% sweetened. I mean, I'll probably end up using this anyway and just not use as much cranberries. If you've ever tried this dish, it's really good. There's some keto maple syrup that's in there as well. So it's like a little sweet, a little bitter, and then you have the cranberries in there that are tart. It's just a really good dish. I've made this previously in other Thanksgivings in my family. Even those people that are not keto still end up loving eating this. The next dish that I'm gonna make is a cranberry sauce. And with this, I'm actually gonna follow a pretty normal cranberry sauce recipe, but I'm gonna use allulose instead of sugar. And instead of adding like a bunch of orange juice, like a lot of the recipes call for, I'm just going to be using some orange zest at the end and maybe just a little bit of like orange extract. It was funny, in the past, I've made cranberry sauce with all of the sugar and everything in it. And when I went to my husband's family for the first time, they were using the one that's in a container, like the one in a can that looks like a can after you open it. And no offense to those of you that love it, and I got a lot of kind of hate initially, sorry, BB, sorry, my mother-in-law. But they were like, why are you trying to make cranberries? We just use these ones in a can. And I was like, come on guys, just let me make this for you. And now it's something that they eat all the time. So I'm really looking forward to this cranberry sauce and trying to make sure that it tastes as close to the original. And honestly, with an alternative sweetener, I don't understand like why it couldn't taste the same way. The next dish that I'm making is a sweet potato casserole. And the recipe that I'm gonna link for this one, it's actually not keto, but I've made this dish before, but I think that I can just keto-fy it. So instead of brown sugar, I'm gonna be using brown sugar swerve. Instead of any kind of regular sugar, I'm gonna be using, allulose. And instead of flour in the crumbled topping, I'm gonna use some almond flour, maybe a little bit of coconut flour in there. It's just more to kind of like thicken it up a bit, so I don't wanna go too overboard. And for the marshmallows, I'm actually going to put, because this is a dish that my whole family is going to eat. This is not one that I'm making specifically keto as a smaller side for me and anybody else that's keto. This is one that all the family is going to share. So I am going to put marshmallows on like half of it, and then the other half I will leave without marshmallows. But other than that, everything in there is going to be keto. And I know that sweet potatoes, they do have a higher carb count than maybe I'm used to, but I'm gonna use, a smaller scoop, and I just wanna make sure that I'm able to enjoy that this year. Also, as an alternative this year, I bought frozen sweet potatoes that I'm gonna roast in the oven and then mash up. So this is gonna save me a ton of time. I don't know if y'all have ever tried doing like actual sweet potatoes and slicing them and peeling them and chopping them up and boiling them. It just takes a lot of time. So this is definitely gonna save me some time this year. I'm gonna do the same thing for the butternut squash. I found frozen butternut squash. All of these are a little bit more pricey, but honestly, I'm saving time, and time is money. And since I am working this week, I don't have as much time to prep as normal. So definitely going to be putting this and roasting this in the oven as well. This year, I'm gonna try something new and make my own keto green bean casserole. In the past, I've always followed the recipes that are on these little like French fried onions, and it's been delicious. It's super easy to just put, cream of mushroom soup and green beans and then put your topping on there, and everybody seems to love it, and honestly, I do love it as well. This year, I'm making the entire dish from scratch. So I am gonna make my own cream of mushroom soup, which basically that recipe, it looks really easy. It's like cream, maybe some sour cream and cream cheese, and then mushrooms, right? So I got some portobellos, and then I got some button mushrooms because they didn't have the little small baby bellas that are normally my favorite. But gonna mix those up, blend them up, make them smooth, put in my green beans, and I'm gonna use canned green beans this year. I have made fresh in the past, but honestly, I just don't feel like cutting everything, trying to save time here, and I think these will be fine. On top, I am gonna add some of the French fried onions, and I know these are definitely not keto, but it is one of those if it fits your macros type of thing. I won't be generous on it, and I'll probably end up putting some more like on one side than the other, because again, this is a dish that my entire family is gonna be eating and not just me. But I might want a couple crispy onions, but I don't want to go overboard on these. And these are something that somebody's gonna have to take with them, because this is something that I would like go and snack on if I really wanted to, if they were left in my cabinet. For dessert this year, I decided not to make anything. In the past, I have made some really good keto chow cheesecakes, but this year I decided to kind of go and outsource. And I bought a pecan bar and a caramel cake from Shatera's website. And I will link that below as well. I'm getting the muffin mix, the cornbread muffin mix, and the pecan bar and the caramel cake all from her. So hopefully I get everything in time. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to improvise. All of the dishes that I'm making, you really can prepare ahead of time. Nothing really needs to be made the day of. A lot of these are casseroles and things that you can prep most of it ahead of time and then just warm them up or cook them the day of. I am gonna spread out all the work for the recipes throughout the week. So tomorrow I'm going to chop up all the veggies. I'll probably make 1 or 2 dishes every single day until it's time for Thanksgiving. But we are having Thanksgiving a little bit early this year. We're gonna have it on Wednesday evening. I have a couple family members that are working on Thursday, so we wanted to make sure everybody can come. So we're gonna do a Wednesday night Thanksgiving dinner. So that is all that I'm making for Thanksgiving. If you try any of these recipes, let me know in the description below what you thought. But for me, it is following some actual keto recipes, and then some of the recipes are ones where I've gotten other recipes and kind of keto-fied them in a way. So let me know what you think, and hopefully This allows you to realize that you can be keto for Thanksgiving. You can still have all the yummy food that you would normally have and just keto-fy it. And let me know if there's any dishes you think that I may be missing, if there's something that you normally like to have in your family that's not keto. Maybe we could figure out a way to keto-fy it. But I think for something like a holiday, this definitely beats going completely off plan for an entire day. And if that's your plan, go for it. If that's what you want to do, go completely off plan, have all of the keto foods, the non-keto foods that you want to have, and don't feel guilty about it afterwards. That was your plan, do it for the day, get right back on. But for me, sometimes I do find that it is harder to kind of get back on once I've been off. So I would prefer not to just put myself in that position. I would rather just saying, hey, there's a way I can make all of this keto. And honestly, a lot of these meals, I don't have to change very much to make them keto. A lot of them are fruits and vegetables and real foods. There's hardly anything that's really processed in here. So I'm able to eat all of this stuff and not feel guilty, still stay on plan. And hopefully I can just show myself that I don't need to make these excuses to go off plan. There are ways to make things keto and still make things delicious. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you next week. Bye, everybody.